take this as permission. If you have a Twitch stream or you want to use my music in one of your videos or something, this is your permission. Go ahead and use the music.
Wait, snowflakes in June? Tom Macdonald, Snowflakes, his new video. I'm excited to get into this one, you guys. I'm sure most of you out there know the term snowflakes and the connotations behind it, and I think this video is going to be hilarious. So, without further ado, let us get started, shall we?
If you lie to the government, they'll put you in prison. But when they lie to all of us, it's called being a politician. You think taking guns away will...
Yep. Don't lie to the government, you guys, because the average person will go to jail. If you don't pay your taxes, you will go to jail. You don't have anybody covering your ass. And if you're a politician, you're covered on all sides. You're protected. We've all seen it in the news. Come on.
It's called being a politician. You think taking guns away will save our kids from the killings, but you're pro-choice. Abortion kills way more children.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they think that guns are killing children in record numbers. You might want to look into the numbers of how many babies are aborted every year. Planned Parenthood was started by Margaret Sanger, who is a known eugenicist. She was a racist. She said that basically black people were a plague on this nation, and the kindest thing a mother could do to an unwelcome child is to kill it. That's not verbatim, but you can look it up. She was not a very nice person, and yet pro-choice is the right choice. And if you are pro-life, you don't care about all of the babies that are unwanted. There are millions of parents out there who want to adopt babies. I've said this in my last video. As a mother now, I really can't ever imagine making that decision, and I'm saddened by the misinformation out there about the way Planned Parenthood preys on uneducated, scared girls and women, and especially the black community. The black community has stayed stagnant in its population since the 70s, and it's got to make you wonder why that is.
Abortion kills way more children. If America's so terrible and racist, it probably isn't safe to encourage immigration.
As an immigrant myself to this great land of opportunity, I always wonder why the people who are coming here for a better life wanted to come here when Americans will tell you that this is one of the most racist nations. Apparently women have no rights, minorities have no rights, and that seems to be untrue, considering the fact that we let in legally over 2 million people every year, and you know, we're flooded by illegal immigrants wanting to get here for a better life. So I'm not quite sure how that balances out with the racist connotations behind everything that's constantly pushed in the media, especially. I think immigrants would probably have a differing opinion on that, and that's why they all want to come here. It's the land of opportunity.
It probably isn't safe to encourage immigration. Just saying, all the contradictions are embarrassing. You know who hates America the most? Americans. Trigger warnings used to be...
Wow. Yeah. I think every protest I've seen recently in the past few years is Americans shouting about how much they hate America. They won't leave, though, because deep down inside they know that places like Venezuela, China. First of all, China, Japan, they're very homogenous, and immigration is extremely stringent, their policies. It's almost impossible to immigrate. Americans, they don't like America. I always just say, then leave, because I think if they went to another country, they would have a big wake-up call.
Be on TV for seizures, and now they're everywhere to protect.
Wait, I missed something.
Who hates America the most? Americans. Trigger warnings used to be on TV for seizures, and now they're everywhere to protect millennials' feelings. He, she.
Trigger warnings, yes. There used to be literal trigger warnings, which I think there still are in some TV shows and stuff. Flashing lights can trigger seizures. And yeah, now it's become trigger warning, because this might not be a safe space, you guys. It might hurt your feelings.
On TV for seizures, and now they're everywhere to protect millennials' feelings. He, she, his, him, hers, them, they. Screw a pronoun, cause everyone's a retard these days. Hear
Yes. Everyone seems to be a retard these days. And I say that word not in reference to the mentally handicapped, because that word should never be used for them. I have a cousin who has Down syndrome and autism, and he is the most wonderful, loving, caring, great guy. That said, there are people who are willfully retarded, and it's like they need something to be outraged about. They need something to fight against, because there's no movements left. Well, let's get outraged about the fact that you intentionally or unintentionally assumed somebody's pronouns or gender. Lunacy.
them, they. Screw a pronoun, cause everyone's a retard these days. Hear him preaching at the protest that hatred's the problem, but hating straight men, white folks, and Christians is common. Coca-Cola telling people they should be less white. They preach.
What is with these big companies getting involved in like political conversation? Just make your Coke and people will buy your Coke, just like they always have. Big corporations getting involved in the Me Too movements, the whatever the flavor of the month is. Nobody cares. It's like if a celebrity tells me now that they identify as a attack helicopter. I don't care. Your life has never had any bearing on my life, and I don't care, because I don't make my decisions based on what Demi Lovato thinks now. She's never had a regular life. They're completely out of touch, and they can't possibly have any of the same life experiences that I've had as a normal average person. It's laughable, and that's why I laugh, to keep from crying.
Retard these days. Hear him preaching at the protest that hatred's the problem, but hating straight men, white folks, and Christians is common. Coca-Cola telling people they should be less white. They preach intolerance, but if you disagree, they fight. There's a race war here, elections based on fear. Black lives only matter once every 4 years. Soldiers.
Isn't that the truth? How much have you heard about Black Lives Matter lately? Except for the fact that the head of one of four, the female head of the Black Lives Matter Corporation, stepped down because she got busted. I don't know why she didn't go to jail for embezzling, but when was the most recent thing you heard about Black Lives Matter? And did any of that money go to the black community? No, it didn't. You know where that money went? To white Democratic politicians. Look it up. So every 4 years. The politicians are going to tell you what you want to hear to get your votes, Republican or Democrat. You can't trust anything that comes out of their mouth, and it's all part of the system. They stay up here, we stay down here groveling, putting our votes in, hoping that they keep their word, and they don't. I believe Joe Biden was supposed to cure cancer by now, so...
People, they should be less white. They preach intolerance, but if you disagree, they fight. There's a race war here, elections based on fear. Black lives only matter once every 4 years. Soldiers died for this country, and every one of us benefits. Give welfare to the bums and forget about the veterans. Black folks and white...
I know quite a few veterans who have that story, exactly. We had a good friend who was stationed in Japan for a while. They moved around, and he, long story short, ended up with a lot of medical bills, surgeries, and he had a wife and 4 children, and they were home for maybe a year here in Texas. Basically, they told him they were going to take away his medical coverage. Are those not the people who should be the most benefiting from the system? The VA, they didn't care. But people who don't want to work, they can go in and get any medical attention that they need. They get their food stamps. They keep popping out babies. It's supposed to be there for a hand up, not a lifelong gravy train.
Welfare to the bums and forget about the veterans. Black folks and white folks divided by the news, but we are all the same. We are red, white, and blue. Ashamed to be American? Okay, that's cool. Cause honestly, we are all ashamed of you too. Y'all are so...
Yes, I am ashamed of many people that I see, mainly because they seem to be okay with not being informed. They just go along with the narrative. They just go along with Snapchat. Snapchat actually has news. And guess what? It's completely biased. So that makes me ashamed that people have no interest in opening up their minds. Maybe they're too scared to find out the information. Maybe they just want to pretend that everything's going to be okay if they do nothing, if they don't speak out. I don't know, but yeah, it makes me ashamed. Not just about being in America, but ashamed of the human race in general.
To be American? Okay, that's cool. Cause honestly, we are all ashamed of you too. Y'all are so fake. Oh no. The forecast said that there'd be snowflakes. Whoa. You can make us see it your way. No way.
That's an interesting point. You can't make us see it your way. I think once you have gone down any rabbit hole and been called a conspiracy theorist, you can't see it the other way. You can't go back and ever unlearn what you have learned. And I'm amazed at how many things I've found out that used to be a conspiracy theory that were proven to be facts. So, you know, way back in the day when that conspiracy theory first came out and people who believed that, they were called conspiracy theorists. Well, what are they called now? Psychic?
And make us see it your way. No way. Gasoline and propane. More flames. Oh no. No more snowflakes. They set us up to fail. That's what they built the system for. Put an ammunition shop across the street from a liquor store.
They set us up to fail, yes. People do overcome this, but liquor store and ammunition. That sounds like a bad idea, but it's the truth.
Put an ammunition shop across the street from a liquor store. Empowering women used to be different than this before. The role models got OnlyFans or dance on a stripper pole.
I absolutely agree. The women that young girls are told to look up to now, I don't see that as female empowerment. The last time I saw J-Lo and Shakira was during a halftime show. I don't watch sports. Somebody just told me to check out the halftime show. And they are both mothers. They are both mothers to daughters. And they were literally gyrating their crotch into the camera. There's sensual dancing, and, they're both extremely attractive women. But then J-Lo's daughter came out on stage as part of the kids' dance group, and they all watched her literally on a stripper pole. I've said the same thing about Cardi B. The younger generation are saying, like, oh, we're such old farts and we're prudes. This is, a female should be able to do whatever she wants with her body. Sure, but at some point it reaches a level of depravity that how do you come back from that? I don't want my kids thinking that using your body that way is either a way to make money or a way to get attention. Our bodies are our temples, and we should be treating them, we should be treating ourselves with respect, male or female. But I'm kind of losing my faith in humanity. I believe J-Lo and Cardi B were in a movie together about being a stripper. We all know the story about Cardi B and her drugging men to make money. So, Bill Cosby can't drug women, but Cardi B can drug men. It's continually a double standard, and it's pathetic.
Women used to be different than this before. The role models got OnlyFans or dance on a stripper pole. Screw it, I ain't tripping, I don't mean to be mean, but if our children are the future, then our future is bleak. They take it out.
Yeah, that's true. If that is all they're viewing, and that is all they're seeing, and that is in their Instagram, they're scrolling through their Instagram, and that's the kind of stuff that they're seeing, our future is bleak, because they're literally not being educated. They're being indoctrinated. And this is why my kids don't have cell phones. I have 2 older adult daughters. Obviously, they have cell phones. But my 13, my 10, and my 6-year-olds do not have cell phones. We homeschool. It's not necessary, and it's just another way for that stuff to get, just to weasel into their subconscious. No, thank you.
I ain't tripping, I don't mean to be mean, but if our children are the future, then our future is bleak. They take an Adderall to focus, hit McDonald's to eat. They're addicted to phones, and they take Xanax to sleep. They blurred the lines divided.
Wow. That's a lot to unpack there. Children are drugged with Adderall and Ritalin, which is basically speed, and meth for children. I think the majority of kids who are put on these medications are boys. And having 2 boys, I can tell you right off the bat that they are a completely different energy than girls. I have 3 girls. Now, they're all their own separate, unique individuals, but boys, they play on a different level. And I can honestly tell you that if my 10-year-old was in public school, he probably already would have been labeled ADD. He doesn't stop. He just goes. He talks all day. And you know what? My mom said my brother was exactly the same way, and my husband's parents said he was exactly the same way. So let's give them medication and chill them out, right? It's really sad what I see. I have neighbors whose children are on medication. Lovely little boys who probably would be fine without it, but 9 times out of 10, they are diagnosed at school. So this is yet another reason why I had all my babies at home, and I breastfed them for as long as possible, and they have never had antibiotics, they have never needed medication, and everybody is continually shocked. How could I possibly go through life without bringing them to their well baby visits? They're never sick. I'm not going to take them to an area where people are always sick and get them sick so that a doctor can tell me that my baby grew. I've had 5. I know that they outgrow their clothes and they get heavier, and they're not dehydrated, and they're happy, and they're thriving. So that's how we do it here.
They're addicted to phones and they take Xanax to sleep. They blurred the lines dividing communism and democracy. In 2021, we paint the patriots as Nazis. The men playing women's sports get...
I think I already said that, yeah. That patriots are seen as racist. Being patriotic is a love of your country. So how that got morphed into being racist, not exactly sure. But it was definitely by Americans. Mind-boggling.
In 2021, we paint the patriots as Nazis. The men playing women's sports get trophies for winning. Like, great, let's celebrate a man for beating some women. If you're black...
Well, that's kind of even, that's like a double meaning there. I will say I've seen videos from the girls who have been beaten in female sports by men. If you've gone through male puberty, you already have an advantage, whether you start taking female hormones afterwards or not. We've seen it with rugby players who are like 250 pounds competing against women who are, 130 pounds? Yeah, that's fair though, because he has a ponytail. College sports and high school sports like track, the trans females are blowing the females out of the water. And these are women who have trained their entire life, and they were at the top of their sport until they started mixing the two. I have no problem with you doing whatever you want to do when you're an adult. Identifying as whatever you want to identify, but they should have their own category for sports. They have a completely different muscle mass. They have a completely different bone structure. If you've gone through male puberty, you're probably going to beat women in sports, whether you're taking female hormones or not. And I'd like to know where the feminists are on that one, because you're taking sports away from women. Feminists don't have any problem with it. In fact, they're all for it. Once again, we live in Looney Tune land.
Women's sports get trophies for winning. Like, great, let's celebrate a man for beating some women. If you're black, your life matters, you're supposed to embrace it. If you're rich or you're smart, then you're probably Asian. If you're gay, then you're brave, all of that I'm okay with. But if you're white, the stereotype is you are a racist. Blame.
Yeah, why are there no good stereotypes for white people? We can't dance, we can't jump. White men can't jump, for all of you older people who remember that movie. Asian people are smart. Well, I must say that the majority of Asian people I went to school with were incredibly hardworking, intelligent people, but I think that just goes to work ethic and their family environment. But yeah, white people, there's just nothing good about us. Unfortunately, that's not true, but we don't get any positive stereotypes.
All of that I'm okay with, but if you're white, the stereotype is you are a racist. Blaming capitalism like that's the reason things are tough. While you tweet from an iPhone and sip on a Starbucks, you're supporting what...
Facts. How many people in those protests did you see holding up communist, Marxist flags? And they all had their, filming everything on their iPhone, wearing Nike, just do it, everything that has benefited from capitalism, but they're all against it. Well, I say, go set up a teepee in the woods and have at her. Go live off grid. See how you do.
While you tweet from an iPhone and sip on a Starbucks, you're supporting what you stand against, you don't think you are, but a Percocet addict don't donate money to pharma. Damn dog, we're all afraid to speak the truth, and the more afraid we get, the more we hate the ones who do. You're ashamed to be American.
Yeah, right? That's, you don't want to hear anybody talking about it. La 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 la. Why not? Let's have a conversation. Let's educate each other. Let's find a solution for it.
Damn dog, we're all afraid to speak the truth, and the more afraid we get, the more we hate the ones who do. You're ashamed to be American? Okay, that's cool. Cause honestly, we are all ashamed of you too.
Y'all are so fake. Oh no, the forecast said that there'd be snowflakes.
I just love that line. The forecast said there would be snowflakes. Man, that's been forecast how many years now? Snowflakes everywhere.
The forecast said that there'd be snowflakes. Whoa, you can make us see it your way. No way, gasoline and propane. More flames, oh no, no more snowflakes.
We can all get along, but there's no stopping. Everybody's wrong, that's the real problem. They don't want to hear it, but they still talking. Soon enough, we running out of options. This ain't gonna end till it's in the coffin. We ain't gonna be friends till we try to squash it. I don't know how we can make amends or we drop it. Snowflakes melt when it's hot, kid.
Y'all are so...
Snowflakes melt when it's hot, kid. Yeah, you put the fire under those snowflakes and they melt. They scream and they run away. Have you ever seen an interview with some level-headed person trying to do an interview with a snowflake? They'll bark in your face, they'll blow a whistle, they'll get a drum, they'll clap in your face, and they'll run away. That's their defense mechanism, is idiocy. Have you ever seen the movie Idiocracy? If you have not, please go watch it, because that's pretty much where we are now.
We drop it. Snowflakes melt when it's hot, kid.
Y'all are so fake. Oh no, the forecast said that there'd be snowflakes. Whoa, you can make us see it your way. No way, gasoline and propane. More flames, oh no, no more snowflakes.
Yeah, Nova. Well, I have to say, that was fire. Man, I could blab all day about the stuff that that he's saying about in this video. He's spot on as usual. And that set was great. I wonder if that was in their house again. Nova, man, your filming was awesome again. I'm assuming that's his sister. She has dark hair in that video, and so I think that's her. But yeah, hats off, Tom and Nova. That was another fire video and amazing lyrics. So thank you for dropping this today. And we'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace.